Welcome, y'all. Welcome to the Rig on Wheels show featuring MVT. This is the first ever truck driver recruitment show. I am your host, Kameel Gaines, the CEO of Rig on Wheels, and here joining me is Robert Pierson. He is the VP, our favorite VP of recruitment over there at Mesilla Valley Transportation. So this is your ultimate destination for the trucking industry news, hot jobs. We give you tips for recruitment, tips for drivers. So let's definitely make history happen.
Excited as always to be on here.
Yes, we're glad to have you here. So at least we know where you are. You're in Houston, Texas this time.
Yeah, we're in Houston, Texas, the palatial estate of Rig on Wheels. So I'm excited to be on.
Yes, definitely. Last week we were in Mansfield. Now we're here. They were raining cats and dogs in Mansfield. That's what Blake said today.
Yeah, I saw they were getting hit pretty good on the radar here. Ironically, I sent Josue there, but we're doing it here.
Doing it here today, doing it here. Speaking of weather, Louisiana is getting hit down there. Basically, I-10, they're getting hit real bad with that super fall. There's a lot of pileups yesterday, today. So pretty bad. But also, we're not really coming with good industry news. No. Mack Truck, going back to the drawing board. They're here to make my life miserable. I'm like, what is going on? The big wigs at Mack is saying that the union is playing hardball basically with stuff that just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
You know, and I don't know.
The longer this goes on, there's the domino effect of all the suppliers, all the customers. And in a world where, look, getting a new Class 8 truck, it runs about $225,000, depending on make and model. We know costs are going to go up. That payroll, ultimately, if the union wins and they get everything they want, that cost is not buried. That cost goes to the person buying a truck, be it a large trucking company or a mom and pop with one or two trucks. That cost gets passed on. So one way or the other, this will impact the cost of the truck. We'd rather it happen sooner rather than later, because the longer this drags on, there's a supply chain issue that starts to take place with the availability of trucks, and it will impact the cost of Freightliners and Kenworths and everything else too.
Everything, yeah, definitely. And then let's talk about the diesel.
Yeah, up 10.1 cents. I know you brought up that it was up 25 cents a gallon in the Midwest, which is insane. Now, as we've talked about, we'll see this going, not necessarily at this rate. I'm not predicting that we'll see 10 cent a mile increases week in and week out, but this is probably going to be life for a while here, probably over the next 6 to 8 weeks, maybe even 10 weeks. We're obviously going to see oil prices go up as we go into wintertime, as they do every year. But with everything going on geopolitically around the world, it's something we have to be cognizant of. And so fuel economy matters. We'll talk a little bit later in the show why it matters to MVT. But as an overall industry, the fuel economy matters right now, because that fuel surcharge is a lagging indicator. So you're going to want to slow it down, because that fuel surcharge will not keep up with the cost of diesel increasing exponentially.
Yeah, it's a lot. And we haven't seen this type of upswing with the fuel since mid-August.
Yep.
And it's going to keep going up, but like we got the wars, lots of wars happening. And then let's talk about the government, your government.
Yeah, the GOP's come back. They've got Emmer, who's now going to be the third attempt at a Speaker of the House. Emmer's out of the 6th District up there in Minnesota, considered a bit of a moderate, been in office since about 2015. The problem is that I don't know that the GOP can all get on the same page. And so the problem is the longer this drags on, 2 to 3 weeks from now, we're coming up on the debt ceiling. And so Hopefully they're able to come to a conclusion, but I'm not optimistic. So this may come to an end tomorrow when they bring it to a vote, or this time next week when we're having the same podcast, we're going to have the same conversation. There's not really an end in sight here, but the thing with politics is you never know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So, fingers crossed.
Hopefully, just hopefully something is going on behind closed doors and we get a government.
Yeah.
A working government, a full working government.
I'd rather them be working so we can then complain about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I need another complaint because this is ridiculous. Well, that's it for our industry news for right now. So I want to go to a quick commercial, and then I want to go ahead and jump into our hot jobs or the area. Let's do that quickly, and so we'll be back in a few short minutes in 2 and 2. Be very realistic when you come into this industry, because for none of us, even behind the desk, it's not a 9 to 5 at all.
Yep.
I ask my kids, I'm up at 2 in the morning working almost every day.
Power. Realize your power. Finding out myself. Finding out myself. Go where you wanna go. Do what you're gonna do. Do what you wanna do. Go where you wanna go. Get on with it. Come on, get on with it. Come on, get on with it. Come on, get on with it.
Welcome, y'all. Welcome back. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is some hot jobs in the area that you want to talk about. Nashville, or you want to?
Yeah, we have a couple openings in Nashville. Let's start in Nashville. We have Division 400 and Division 410 available at this moment here. So Division 400, we've talked about extensively on this show. You're running from Nashville up to the Northeast. Our version of the Northeast would be Central Pennsylvania, occasionally Southern New Jersey, but mainly upstate New York too. We do not do the George Washington Bridge, New York City, any of the boroughs. We don't go up to New England. And then you come back generally to the Midwest and back down into Tennessee. You're going to be out generally 4 to 6 days at a time. There's all sorts of perks. There's a productivity bonus on it. If you work on weekends, there's a bonus on it. The average driver on that's going to be making about $90,000 to $95,000 a year. We have a couple folks that are above the 100,000 mark, but realistically, let's go off averages about $90,000 to $95,000 a year. The other opening, we have 2 openings right now that just opened up for Division 410, which tends to be a favorite of drivers. Basically, it has them run the Southeast and Midwest. So you're not going to Chicago, you're not going Northeast. You're staying pretty much in the states of Southern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky, a little bit of Northern Georgia, Northern Alabama. Again, you're out about 4 to 6 days. That position offers about $80,000 to $85,000 a year, but you're not going up further to the Northeast. And so we've talked a little bit on this show a couple times here about what do you want? What matters to you most? Is it the money? Is it the home time? Is it the running lane? If it's the money, you're doing Division 400 by far. If it comes down real consistently about, I don't want to go up there and I'd rather stick to my area, 410 works great for that. And you're still making $80,000 to $85,000 a year. In the market of Nashville, where the average household income continues to be about $56,000 a year. So you're beating that by about $30,000 on the low end there.
Well, what I was about to say, though, either way, if you're looking for the home time of the area or the money, okay, 80,000 is more than the average driver is making right now.
Yep.
I got to write notes because I'll forget what I'm going to say. But 80,000 is making more, and then the 95,000 for Division 400 is almost 6 figures. So that's definitely almost twice what an average driver is making right now.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep in mind, and I know that at a truck stop, you're going to hear all sorts of wild stories about what people make. Your average OTR truck driver makes about $56,000 to $60,000 a year. Your average local truck driver makes about $45,000 to $50,000 a year. Now you can get into more specialized stuff, and there are some positions out there that with some sacrifice you can do that make a lot of money. With that said, though, the key is to keep realistic of what is it that you want to do. Is your goal to become a fleet owner or an owner operator? Is your goal to, hey, I want to get hazmat endorsed, have a TWIC card, every endorsement under the sun? Our drivers, what we specialize in is no touch freight. We don't have any endorsements. Literally, you're paid to be the expert behind that wheel and know that truck from top to bottom. We don't pay you to be a lumper. We don't want you to go worry about any of that type of stuff. So in that range, you're going to be at about $56,000 to $60,000 a year. Most of our positions, like these ones here, are paying about 80 to 95, depending on what you're doing. You'll find in the markets that we operate, most of our jobs pay well above that average.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Sometimes we do get drivers that call in and say, "Oh, I make 1,900. Can you beat that?" And so, how do I say this nicely?
Well, that's the hard part.
Right. When you realistically want to make more money than that, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, sometimes you have to utilize the money that you make and have that money earn other money for you outside of your job.
Yep.
So maybe invest in something else or what have you, because if you're a truck driver and you're already making a handsome amount of money, instead of trying to get a job making more money, use the money that you have in your weekly check, or if you work at a company that's bi-weekly, MVT pays weekly. But if then utilize that and invest in something that's going to pay more money for you while you're sleeping.
I had a conversation with a driver this past week. A gentleman lived out of St. Louis, said, I'm making $2,500 a week. So my first question is, why are we on the phone? Because it sounds like a great job. There's got to be something wrong if you're making $2,500 a week. And he was honest. He goes, I have to go up into Canada, which I deal with all sorts of issues at the border. He goes, half the stuff we haul, I really don't want to have in the trailer behind me. A lot of it was hazmat. Some of it was somewhat dangerous. And he goes, I've not been home in about 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. That's why he's making $2,500 a week. He had that job. He most likely pursued that money. And at $2,500 a week, that is a great job in terms of pay for a truck driver. But he's not happy. He hates what he does. He's never home. And so that's where we get into that conversation. The other thing that you have to ask yourself, and right now, a lot of drivers who with yellow are asking themselves that. We had drivers that were in markets like Jacksonville making $2,000 a week and getting home every day. Eventually, there was no job security in that because the market will adjust and stabilize. So we went through this arms race last year where companies did incredible raises and huge sign-on bonuses, and the freight market dropped. And the average rate per mile right now on the DAT board that I saw this morning was about $1.56. $1.56 does not pay a driver $2,000 to get home every single day living in Jacksonville. No. So the caveat to that is you want to have job security, and that job security comes from having a job that you enjoy, gives you a nice quality of life outside the truck. If you want to go money chasing, you've got to be prepared for the risk that comes with that. And there is risk when you take one of those jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to decide what it is that works for you. Write it down. Yep. Literally write it down and decide what works for you. Like I'm being as honest as I can be, because to make $2,500 as a driver, that is really good money, but you're going to be sacrificing some things.
And you got to not think about it just as what do I want to do 3 months from now, but what do I want to do 2-5 years from now? And this is not unique to truck drivers. We all have to have the same conversation in our lives. There's a reason why I make something that's different than a recruiter. There's a reason why I make less than the CEO of the company. There's life experience. There's the time and effort of investing in your career. We all have those same conversations. You as a truck driver should have that same conversation too, though. And there's no better time to do that than when you're talking to a recruiter. Because ask yourself, are they selling me a job that I'm going to like for the next 3 months? Or are they selling me a job that I could see myself doing 5 years from now?
Yeah, make it. That's what I was just about to say, to piggyback on what you said. Make a 2 to 5 year plan.
Yep.
Because it literally might be that you need to work this job for 2 years or 5 years or whatever, because you have a certain plan, and then transfer to another company or within that company that you're with, preferably, right? Transfer within the company that you're with to another job.
Yep.
Based on your goal. Any other hot job you want to talk about?
Yeah, I would say teams. I'd go back to the teams with Division 110. We're looking for teams in particular out of Albuquerque and the DFW marketplace right now. Our teams are generally averaging $1,700 a week per driver. That's $3,400 to $3,600 a week for a team. A lot of times it could be husband, wife, it could be brothers, it could be friends. There may be somebody that you're not teaming with right now that you just get along with and you guys have aligned goals. Great opportunity right there on that end out of the DFW Albuquerque areas.
So what are some of the great points about teaming?
Well, camaraderie. You're out on the road. Being a driver, and I'm honest with people, it is a lifestyle. It is not a job. It is a lifestyle, a profession. And so if you have somebody you can share that with, that's a huge advantage. There's a lot of people, especially the drivers in their first year, that get very, very lonely on the road. Having that other person in the vehicle with you can make a huge difference. Second piece of that is you serve a valuable niche. That expedited freight tends to pay a little bit better. Mm-hmm. It tends to have a lot of opportunity, and in particular out of markets like Albuquerque, DFW, that are large areas, big populations, a lot of freight moving in and out and through them. You'll stay busy. Generally speaking, when the freight market goes down, there's never enough teams, though, and the teams tend to do fairly well. Their customers will pay a premium for a team to get freight moved quick. It's stuff. A good team can go coast to coast in about 48 hours. Yeah. So you're paying for that premium right now. As we've talked about previously a couple weeks ago, the intermodal market is down right now. So you see a lot of drivers looking in Memphis at this area because the intermodal market's down. Intermodal's cheap. You're moving stuff and you don't really care about when it gets there. Union Pacific, the last quarter was celebrating they had a 38% on time percentage. Trust me, in trucking, we'd get fired with that. So what's happened, though, is there's not a lot of freight that's not time sensitive because the warehouses are still full. But the drivers that are getting stuff in a quick manner, there's plenty of freight opportunities right now. And as we go into Christmas, we see that picking up even more because people got to get things before Christmas gets here. So teams are very, very busy at this moment.
Yeah. So talking about job security, everybody likes teams.
Yep.
So because I'm a negative Nancy, let's talk about some downers with teams.
You may not like the person in the truck with you.
I know I won't like the person in the truck.
Well, and so that's the caveat there. We don't team people up. And I've done that in a previous life where I had to basically team people up that didn't know each other. And occasionally you'd have a Jerry Springer type situation arise because you have some people are water and oil and they don't blend together. That happens. So it's good making sure that you know and like the person you're in the truck with. I always advise that you've got to get along with them because you're in a confined space, even with our large equipment. The other part of that equation when it comes to teams is there's some work involved with it. And it sounds simple when I say a team runs 6,000 miles a week. You have to work to do that. There is not off time. That truck is always operating and running. If you run a team correctly, they never truly run out of hours. And that, as much as we talk about is I want all the miles I can get. That sounds great until you have all the miles that you can get. And there's some people that get a bit of a culture shock when that takes place, when they get that kind of mileage. So they have that saying, be careful what you wish for. A team will run hard and you will get those miles. It is not always what it sounds like on that end. So also be realistic about what kind of work life you want. If you really want to run as many miles as you possibly can get a week, because we all say that, we can do it, but that's not for everybody. Some people are sitting there after a week going, I need to get home. Now, our teams do get home every week, but as you look at other jobs where you may be out 2 to 3 weeks at a time, that can put a strain on your life if you are not used to running the miles you've been saying that you want to get.
But that's what I like about MVT's teams is that you get home every week because self-care is so important. That's the topic I'm talking about November 8th at Women in Trucking is about self-care, right? So self-care is so important. And if the truck is always rolling, if you're on a team, regardless if you like the person or not, with me and my personality, that will not work if I'm on the road with somebody 3 to 4 weeks. That truck is always rolling unless we at a stop, truck stop or something like that. That will not work for me.
Yep.
You will get that would not work for me.
Yep.
At all. So the fact that I would be able to get home on a weekly basis, still make $1,700 a week before taxes. Yeah, that's better.
One of the things we've also talked about a lot on this show is in this current market, the value as a driver of you showing up on time,
Right.
not being late. It
Mhm.
matters even more when you have a team because the customer is literally paying for expedited service.
Right.
So if the product is not there in an expedited manner, most customers have very little leniency for that in the team world because they're paying a premium to have it brought quickly.
Yeah. So if you are and I'm saying it the way Deborah Dominguez says it because she loves teams. She loves teams, right? So if you are a person that wants a team with somebody that you like, please like them. Don't make it just be about money because if you have my personality, it's not going to work if it's just about money. So you have to like them to be willing to be in the truck with them for a week, and you'll still be able to get home on a weekly basis. You're going to make good money, and it's going to be better, way better than the average truck driver. Definitely. Strong miles, the whole 9 yards. You will be able to do Division 010.
One of the other things that gets overlooked, and I know I've seen a lot of drivers try to team, but they live in different areas. So as an example, you might know somebody in Albuquerque, but you live in DFW. Trust me, you're taking something that is already very complicated and you've just made home time much more complicated. Yeah. So it's one of the things that about once a week we'll have somebody where they want to do that. And in theory, it sounds good. But in actuality, I've seen very few companies that have been able to actually make that work without it having a major detriment to your income.
Yeah, unless that person is gonna, you all swap. 1 week is in Albuquerque, the next week is in Dallas, that you do your home time.
But at some point, one of the drivers is going to have a family issue. Then another driver is going to have a family issue. It will break down.
Life is going to happen.
Life's going to happen.
That's one thing we can guarantee. The end of the world is going to happen.
Yeah, and I respect folks that can do it. Let me be clear. My wife and I would not survive in a truck. I can tell you right now, that would not happen.
I don't know if I survive teaming with myself. Yes.
I like one Kameel. I don't need two.
No, I don't need two Kameels. Well, I had another Kameel, so that's how I know I don't need two Kameels. But no, this is really, really good. So if you're a person that can team the coast to coast or the areas that MVT goes to and home weekly, definitely give us a call at 281-968-3100. This is very good, the home weekly situation. That in itself is very good. So we talked about 400, 410, and 110. Not 010, 110.
And I would say we have a bunch of opportunities in other markets too, though. We're always looking for drivers right now out of Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, Las Cruces, El Paso, San Antonio, Laredo, Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, Memphis, Nashville, Louisville, St. Louis, Lexington, Kentucky, and potentially in the near future we'll be reopening Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Good old Jacksonville. Okay. Were they just doing that 110 situation?
What would that be? 430.
Yeah. So they just doing.
Oh, on 110, they're just going coast to coast. Primarily with 110, you're running I-40.
So let's go ahead, take a commercial break. What I want to talk about, because we just talked about teams, I want to go ahead and be able to look at the condo, the truck. So Kayla, show them the truck, how big the truck is with a really tall guy. So show them.
At Mesilla Valley Transportation, every driver is behind the wheel of a late model International LT, a truck that takes comfort, convenience, and safety to a whole new level. Join us as we explore the impressive features of this powerhouse on wheels. The open road is full of surprises, and sometimes that includes unexpected encounters with wildlife. But worry not, the International LT has you covered. The front end protection guard offers an extra layer of defense, protecting you from animal strikes. Drive with confidence, knowing that you're shielded from the unexpected. We all know how important it is to keep our batteries charged, and our International LTs have your back. The Cummins X15 is equipped with an auto start feature, ensuring that your batteries are automatically recharged when they run low on volts. It's a seamless process that keeps you powered up and ready to hit the road. Disc brakes and an engine brake provide reliable and safe stopping power when you need it most. You can have peace of mind knowing that you're in control. Safety is at the forefront of what we do. Our International LTs are equipped with top-of-the-line safety features to ensure your well-being while out on the road. These tractors are equipped with Bendix fusion protection, collision mitigation, and lane departure warning. Achieving good fuel efficiency deserves recognition. With the International LT, your efforts don't go unnoticed. When you consistently achieve impressive miles per gallon, the International LT rewards you with increased speed. It's a little extra motivation to keep you pushing for better fuel economy. After a long drive, you're ready for a well-deserved break. With the International LT, you can enjoy your rest period in absolute comfort. Thanks to its auxiliary power unit, you can keep the driver's cabin heated or cooled just the way you like it. No matter the weather outside, you'll always find your sweet spot within our International LT. The International LT understands that comfort extends beyond driving. It's a space where you can truly feel at home. I'm a big guy, and I have room to move around in here. With plenty of room to spare, the International LT accommodates even the tallest drivers. And there's ample storage for all your clothes, cooking essentials, and tools, making life on the road even more convenient. Speaking of cooking, bring along your appliances and don't sacrifice any luxuries thanks to all of our International LTs being equipped with built-in inverters. Dry your hair, make a smoothie, or play a game, all from the comfort of your truck. We take pride in our well-maintained fleet. And if by chance you do come across something wrong on your truck, you're never far from help thanks to our valuable relationship with Penske. With more than 750 brick-and-mortar Penske shops nationwide, their expert team is always ready to assist you. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, they'll get you taken care of and back on the road in no time. And there you have it. Just a few things about this late model International LT that make MVT the place to be.
Welcome back, you all. Welcome back. Okay, so we got a question that came through on YouTube, and Kayla said she wants to ask the question instead of in my ear, so you all don't think I'm talking to myself.
Hey, Kameel.
Hey.
All right. So the question that came in about the team job, if the driver has, say, 20 years of experience and his partner has, say, 3 months, will it be possible to hire them?
Yes. So normally we require 6 months, but we will do a one-time trainer position as long as that 20-year vet has a safe, stable work history, didn't have a rollover accident, as an example, last week. We will absolutely do a one-time trainer opportunity where that person will act as the trainer for that less experienced driver.
That's a good question. A very good question. Any other questions, Kayla? Because that's a good question.
Yes. For owner operators, can you share how your fuel surcharge works?
We don't work with owner operators.
Copy
Next
that.
question. No, so we do have we do what's called a lease. So drivers with us, as an example, can get into a lease program, because the nice thing about that, what we found, most companies that do a lease purchase statistically have fewer than 2% of people ever complete that lease purchase, which is a horrible career path and has lingering effects for that person. That's the 98% that failed it. So what we do is a lease program. With that lease program, they get a truck. They are essentially renting the truck. They are an owner-operator, though, in our minds. They're able to reject freight, though we pre-plan 2 to 3 days in advance, so they probably shouldn't. But we have approximately 200 drivers that do that presently. That fuel surcharge generally goes up a penny for every 5 cents that the fuel goes up. And so what ends up happening is, say, fuel is at this mark and the fuel surcharge is 32 cents a mile, and then it goes up 5 cents. That fuel surcharge now becomes 33 cents a mile and resets every Tuesday morning, because fuel resets every Monday afternoon. So that fuel surcharge goes along with that. Plus, we get discounts on fuel. We generally are going to fuel at Love's Truck Stop. However, we also have a biodiesel company that we work with that gets better fuel economy. So out of places like El Paso, Laredo, and a couple other locations, you can use our biodiesel, which is going to get a better fuel surcharge, fuel economy, as well as a much lower rate than you'll get at a truck stop.
Let me piggyback, because somebody asked this question, and a recruiter asked this question before. like what's the difference between a lease purchase and a lease program. So I kind of want to describe that. So when Pierson is saying a lease program, basically the driver's 1099. They won't own the truck. It's more like a rental or a lease, right? So there'll still be a lease person or a small business owner. So we can also use that term, a small business owner, but you won't ever own the truck. So you don't have to worry about the ownership of those things, but you get the benefit of the small business owner, benefits, taxes, all of that. I'm not your accountant, so you'll deal with that with your CPA, but you'll get those things. The lease purchase is where the thought is that you will own the truck. The downside is 98% of drivers that go into a lease purchase program never own the truck. So they pay towards the truck the actual premium on top of a program. They pay towards it, but it never happens.
With our program, you never have a big balloon payment that's sitting there waiting for you at the end of the lease. You're not going to have to put a ton of money down into it. It is very simple on that end. Like I said, I've seen a couple lease purchase programs that I thought were pretty good and fair, but overwhelmingly, I'm not a big fan of lease purchase programs because I don't see them work out for the driver. At the end of the lease, they either have a large balloon payment due because they got to make up for what's been used as far as the depreciation. I don't see it really working out. I'm not going to say that 100% of them don't work out because I'm sure there's a couple of them out there that go, hey, that's not bad. But I can tell you as an owner operator in the present environment right now, you have to have a good business acumen to survive as an owner operator. I would not do it at this time where you're somewhat novice to it and don't quite understand the business aspect of driving the truck, because it becomes very important right now in the current environment.
Yeah, it's definitely a difference. Like, for an example, the person on YouTube that said they have 20 years of experience, and I hear this a lot. I had 20 years experience, so I want to become an owner operator, or not even that much. I have 5 years experience. I have 10 years experience. There's a difference between somebody that is a vet and has a lot of trucking experience, and we definitely appreciate that, all the knowledge and everything that comes along with that. But there's a difference between that driver and a driver that is a small business owner.
Yep.
That whether or not the driver drives the truck or doesn't drive the truck, one is not better than the other. You just need to know who you are and what lane you are, and the amount of risk that you want to take on, because it's a whole different other lane and risk when you step into the small business owner lane. And then when you decide which side you want to fall on, if we're talking about lease purchase and lease program.
I will tell you, if you're an owner operator or any type of independent contractor operating a truck, you in your head as well as on paper should have a P&L statement. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a P&L statement, you probably are in the wrong game. Now, there's companies that will help you with that. Out of Denver, there's a company called ATBS that does a really good job of taking all your receipts every month, compiling them so you have a good financial dictionary of what your business looks like. But with that said, if you don't have a P&L statement, which as a company driver, you're not going to, as an owner operator, you have to have it as a necessity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's where everything, there's a bigger play in that right there. So do we have any other questions at this time, Kayla?
That's all I have. Pierson answered my question about the fuel stop, so thank you.
Okay, awesome. So speaking, let's kind of go into tips, because I am hearing more and more, probably on social media. It's concerning me, not on LinkedIn, on the other social medias. It's concerning me that people are really wanting to get into this owner operating game right now. Like, don't they know the world is ending?
So it's funny because right now we see about 20 to 25 drivers a week that come through our leads of owner operators trying to go the opposite direction of trying to get into a company truck. Mm-hmm. They basically played the spot market, just like with the stock market. If you try to time it on peaks and valleys, you'll
Right.
fail. It's why most mutual funds can't outperform the S&P 500 over time.
Right.
It's the same thing on this end. It's a lull period here. Ask yourself why you're becoming an owner operator. Is it because you want better home time? It's probably the wrong option as far as why you're becoming an owner operator. Is it because you have aspirations that you want to eventually get 2 or 3 trucks under you? Okay, that could happen. Have an honest discussion with yourself, though, that most entrepreneurs do not work an 8-hour workday. Most entrepreneurs do not have the same life as that company driver does. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with the company driver. Nothing wrong with the owner operator. But have that conversation. Are you prepared to start a business, which is a lifestyle change on top of the lifestyle change you got into when you became a truck driver? Is your motivation the fact that you want to have the prettiest truck? That's probably the wrong motivator for becoming an owner operator. Is your motivation the fact that, you know what, I feed off of accountability? Okay, that's a good reason. If accountability is one of those things that you want to have more control over your career path and feel that's a pathway to do it, that's a worthwhile endeavor. Be honest.
Says nobody.
Well, yeah, well, some, and some successful owner operators I know have had that. But you need to have that honest discussion, just like we talked about what type of job should your next job be. If the career path you're looking at is owner operator, have an honest discussion. Is it, do I want to work less? That's probably not going to be the case. Is it that, you know, I have aspirations above and beyond this and I want to eventually be a fleet owner? Or it is, I want to have my own authority someday. Have an honest discussion about that. When you have your own authority, can you survive the valleys? Because you're going to have valleys every 18 months, give or take. So it's having that honest discussion. Most people, and this is the hard part in our industry, and we get into those conversations with lease purchases as an example, most people do it based off the wrong motivator.
Yes.
And so that's why I'm saying that I don't know how many times I've had people go, do you have a lease purchase? I'm tired of having somebody else tell me how often I can get home.
Or tell me what to do.
Or tell me what to do. And trust me, this is the thing when you become a business owner, somebody who's owned businesses in the past, Kameel owning one right now, you still have people tell you what to do. It's just now you have more people tell you what to do.
That's what I was about to say. You have more people telling you what to do now.
So instead of having one boss, you now have several.
Yeah.
So be honest about what it is. There's nothing wrong with having ambition. I know a lot of owner operators, fleet owners, small fleet owners that took that leap of faith, and God bless them, they've been very successful with it. Be very honest in that discussion. I don't dismiss anybody doing it, but if you don't have that honest discussion with yourself, you're gonna fail.
Yeah, absolutely. Just right now, this is a time if you are, I don't want to say don't become an owner operator. What I think is I'm really big on education, So I think right now is the time where you need to learn. So what I think you need to do is pretend, oh, this is a good one. So I was looking at this movie. I forget the name of the movie, so forget that part. But you know how on movies or in life period, you have a chess game and you have your chess pieces, but you don't have a opponent. You are your own opponent. So you need to play that as a chess game. Pretend that you are the owner operator and actually follow the different, if this was your dedicated account, or if you was on the spot market, or if you, whatever it is, to kind of see what you would be doing. How would you be doing it during this time? And just kind of, but educate yourself and keep a journal, whether it's written or whether it's a digital in your mobile. However, this is the time to make the mistakes before you actually either use your business credit, your personal credit, hopefully your business credit, but your credit, your monies and things like that. So educate yourself before you do that as much as possible.
You also got to think about the relationship. So let's say you're currently at a company driver position at this moment, and you want to be an owner operator for that same company. Your current relationship is that as an employee and employer. When you become an owner operator for the company that you're presently at, you're no longer an employee. They're no longer an employer. You are now literally a service provider, and they are a customer of your services. And that dynamic is very different. Most people don't have that conceptual change in their head, but you're no longer that employee-employer type relationship. It is now literally service provider and customer, and that does change the relationship. I know that OWIDE has pushed very hard for, the freedom to pick your loads and everything else. You're now have a customer. You've taken your employer and turned them into a customer. And if you don't think of the relationship in that way, generally the relationship's not going to work out.
Yeah, that is the truth. And that is one that becomes your boss. So those are one of, and your boss in a different way. So when we said other people or many other people that tell you what to do, that's one of those many other people that are telling you what to do.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go to a quick commercial. Go to the one that he won the car about the fuel, so we can come back and talk about how my husband would win me a car, and we'll talk about how fuel is important to MVT and important to the drivers at MVT, definitely.
Mi nombre es Carlos Vázquez, tengo trabajando 3 años aproximadamente y somos B1 y andamos en territorio de Estados Unidos. Lo que me gusta de MVT es que tiene buenos viajes, buenos camiones y muy buenas millas. Mi comunicación con el despacho es muy buena y todo eso, y siempre están a la orden del día. ¿Qué pienso del equipo de los camiones? Pues que están muy bien y les dan sus mantenimientos, sus PO y todo lo demás, alineación y balanceo, todo, cambio de llantas y excelente servicio. La compañía cada trimestre regala un auto para los operadores. Me motiva pues a crecer más como persona y pues, para dar el 100, como dicen, para la compañía.
Super fantastic. Glad y'all came back with us. So, okay, Pierson, take us away with all the good fuel talk.
Absolutely. Fuel is very important. Even when the fuel prices are low, it's what separates a company, one trucking company to another trucking company here. Your average fuel economy at most carriers is about 6.5 miles a gallon. Ours is about 9.5. That makes a huge difference to the bottom line. In the spot market right now that is suppressed, that is a saving grace for us. For some other people that are not doing so well, had 2 brokers go out of business last week, had a carrier go out of business last week. I promise you that fuel economy on the carrier side played a role in that. And so one of the things that we do is we reward those drivers that provide us with the best fuel economies. We want that savings to get passed on to our drivers. So we give a car away every quarter. We do driver appreciation quarterly, not just 1 week of the year. And one of the big events there that Royal Jones gets excited about, our founder and owner of the company, is the person with the best fuel surcharge for the quarter gets a brand new car. Normally it's going to be a 2023 Nissan Sonata. Nice car. The next one we give away is black, and it's sitting in our front lobby at this moment in El Paso, just waiting for its next owner. Last quarter, someone had 12.6 miles a gallon. A driver that's been with us for a while, but what we have found is it really all walks of life have won it. We've had people that were dead center of the pack that ended up getting 2 quarters later winning the fuel economy, working hard to do it too, because it's not luck. We've had people that have been with us 20 years. We've had people that won it being with us for less than a year. So it's definitely available. It's open to all divisions that have trucks. So as an example, if you're a local driver for us, you wouldn't be eligible because you're going to slip seat in that scenario because you're a local driver. But if you're running any of our divisions, Division 110, like we talked about today as a team, or Division 400 or 410, you're completely eligible to get that and have the same advantage in getting it. Additionally, at the end of the year, if you didn't win at one of those quarters, or if you did win at one of those quarters, whoever has the best fuel economy for the year will get a check for $25,000. We do that every single year. And so quarterly, yearly, we recognize the people that get us the best fuel economy. And if you don't get us the best fuel economy, we have a whole department called Driver Services, along with your fleet manager, that work with you diligently on setting that up, making sure that you have reliable equipment that can get the job done for you, making sure that there's training opportunities and how to pre-plan and get the best fuel economy. The time of day that you go into a truck stop, is your truck clean? Did you pre-plan? How often are you getting on and off the highway? All those things and more go into your fuel economy, and they start to add up after a while.
That's pretty good. And I know I say this every week, but what I really think I like the most is the fact that you all work with the driver to try to get his mileage to become more efficient so he can actually win the car.
Yeah, we look at it pretty close with the driver. And I'll give you an example. Why is a clean truck important? A clean truck, and it sounds like a little thing, but a clean truck versus a dirty truck gets better fuel economy by about 1/10 of a mile better fuel economy. And that happens because of aerodynamics, drag on the truck. So it's not just about making the truck look pretty. That's a lot of things that most trucking companies you'll never hear talk about. They'll get the truck clean because they want to look good in front of the customer. But it's those types of things that we look at, that we whittle down, and how we can get the absolute best fuel economy.
Oh, I never even well, like I guess, yeah, because it's heavier.
Yeah, it's heavier and you get drag. So if you have dirt on it, you get drag off that sleek truck that now slows your fuel economy down. So about 1/10 of a mile per gallon. So it's a small thing, but those small things over 20, 30 different things that you do start to add up.
Yeah, that adds up. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, so one of our metrics that's kind of unique here is we have a goal that like 75 trucks a day in El Paso get cleaned. And the reason for that comes down to fuel economy. It's not making the trucks look pretty. They do look pretty. The Blue Beasts are nice looking trucks,
Yeah, nice.
but it really is about fuel economy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's nice. I like that. I like that a lot.
And our driver service department has a whole bunch more cheats like that to make sure you get the best fuel economy.
Yeah, that's a good cheat. I probably need to do that with my car too, because it takes premium.
Yeah, if you got your car cleaned yesterday and you clean it today, and then someone asks, that's why I get better fuel economy than you.
Yeah.
Brag
definitely.
about it.
Well, the people in the Midwest need to do that. That's for sure. Because they are being killed with gas. Okay. The fuel is terrible up there. Okay. Awesome. So what I want to definitely point out, and we're going to definitely just beat it over the head, is in regard for the next few weeks anyway, in regards to these teams. And I know going into the holiday season, that's going to be a big deal, not just for MVT, but for most carriers that do teams. That's pretty huge. So give us a call at 281-968-3100, 281-968-3100 if you're interested in any of these Mesilla Valley transportation jobs, but especially coming out of Nashville and these teams. That's definitely important. But of course, if you're interested, period, in any trucking, Class A trucking position, because that's all we do is Class A, give us a call at 281-968-3100 or go directly to the website at rigonwheels.com, and we have an Intella application that you can fill out, and follow us on whatever platform you're on, especially on YouTube. And we're here every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. What were you about to say?
Well, I will point out the advantage of Rig on Wheels having an Intella app, because there's a lot of companies. If you're a driver, you've talked to third parties, to people that work outside the company, and there's certain advantages that happens. So like Rig on Wheels may send drivers to us, but there's a number of other companies that may be a better fit for you. I don't like it, but they may be a better fit for you. That other part, though, is with an Intella app. If you've ever filled out an Intella app with about 1,100 other carriers, you get to skip about 30 minutes worth of work on your application. If you've never filled out an application, or if you've ever applied to a carrier that doesn't use Intella apps, say they use one called Driver Reach or Rapid Hire or Deleo, you know that app could take 45 minutes to fill out if you're an experienced truck driver. You probably don't have 45 minutes to spend on that. It is a huge advantage of working with somebody that's not necessarily inside the company, but has those carriers that they can send you to. Them having an Intella app saves you about 30 to 35 minutes of time.
Yeah, we can't get time back. Yeah, it definitely does. It allows us to do that, and we are able to just transfer the app right over to Hostway, and it gets you processed faster.
Yep.
Yes. So we'll see you guys next week. Tuesday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye.